Hi, everyone. Welcome to Vanity Fair. My name is Chris Farah, and yay, we get to talk about 90 Day Fiancé. It's before the 90 days. It's season 8, episode 11. Use caution when opening overhead bins. Hi, transitional episode, but important nonetheless. We finally got our girl Elise in the house, which I mean, wildly ecstatic about, as well as, when some things begin, some things end, and it feels like the end of Emma and Zayed. So we are going to get in. However, how are you? I hope all is well. If you haven't yet, subscribe wherever you can on YouTube and follow Vanity Fair, the podcast, on all of your platforms like Apple and Spotify. If you haven't yet, give me 5 stars and like a cool review, something with words in it. Say something about, I don't know, how hot my voice sounds, or how intelligent and gorgeous my mind is, or I don't know, just how sexy the word choice I use is, or how much you think it's hot that I say the word like every other word. I don't know, you do you. However, I would appreciate it. And we're going to get in, you guys. Yes, transitional episode, like I said. And that's how I feel about it. But, there were some choice moments, and we're going to get into it. Let's start with Lisa and Daniel. Now, it's almost as if this storyline is so heavily edited. It's interesting that Lisa and Daniel aren't doing anything romantic as a couple together. Like none of their excursions or adventures or dates are reminiscent of two people getting to know each other, where she's seeing how he is and he's showing her the things that he loves, his favorite fruits, what kind of sports, his friend. Like, I mean, yes, his friends she met, but it doesn't seem like, a typical you're in my area. My hometown. I can't wait to show you the things. It's more so like you're here. And so bada bing, bada boom, you meet my friends, you meet my uncle, you get the blessing. Now we're going to meet the king. And it's, it's crazy also because Lisa has no knowledge of where she's at. She doesn't know the culture of Nigeria or Igbo or where she is. I can't imagine just boarding a plane and going to a place like Africa and then not just even kind of doing some due diligence. She scares me truly. And I think that she scares most people in the audience. And that's why we're watching her. It's wild how she throws herself into decisions and also doesn't seem to get out of hot water. Lisa is the definition of someone who you can boil alive by putting them in lukewarm or even cold water and then just raising the temp. She won't jump. She won't get out. It'll get hot and then she'll just stay until she's soup. That's Lisa. Okay. So at this point, somehow Lisa has now told herself, even though she's the one that brought this thing up, that the woman from IG that Daniel talked to before her is now just a jealous girl who really wanted Daniel. And so she tried to get in between Lisa and Daniel with this. Like now Lisa has done a complete 180, having accused Daniel of lying to her and then wanting to scam Americans. Now she's like, it's really this woman who really wanted to scam me out of my Daniel and also Daniel out of me. Like you're just like, oh my God. Daniel then like does a 180. He's like, yeah, it's really you. It's really you for like showing me someone I don't know. And you showed me the wrong profile picture. Yeah, I only know one profile picture was this picture of her, holding her grandbaby. And the grandbaby had a bow on the head. And unless I see a white baby with a pink bow on the head and some lady looking happy about it, like that's the only profile picture I know of that woman. You can't just show me suddenly some yassified picture of her on Cabo with like, that's not her nose. Like he was confused. And yeah, he's like, it's your fault. And she's like, you're right. Well, it's actually her fault. We're like, oh my God. Half of me is like, there's all this talk of like the James Vanderbeek GoFundMe and all that stuff. I have no opinion either here nor there. I don't really give to celebrity GoFundMe's, like not ever. But I do feel like Faith deserve more. I feel like Faith Lisa's daughter, deserves a GoFundMe to watch this season with us. And I feel like, you know, the 90-day fiance audiences can be on the spectrum of being vulgarly aggressive and then just being like, whatever, kind of chill and weirded out. And I do think that at time to time, it might be good to give back as a reality show audience to the subjects because, and I'm going to jump again, I watched the America's Next Top Model documentary, 3-part, and it really reminds you of what a wild, wild west the 2000s were, the early 2000s, especially when it came to reality shows, and especially just the moral dignity that we gave people on TV and how we viewed them. In reality shows in the 2000s, it was like if you said yes to a reality show, it was like you saying yes to submitting your body to science, where it was like, whatever the fuck happens now, you've said yes. Now you're a test subject. Like, if you're in the 2000s in reality shows and you sign a contract to be on a reality show, all bets were off. They'll make you look, however, they'll kill you. I mean, they'll kill you, but like they'll do whatever the fuck it is. They don't give a shit about your family, your legacy. They don't care about, they don't care about your Google searches, whatever it is. How you'll be viewed for the rest of time, not important. It's about what you can offer this show in the scene you're in for 2 seconds that'll make a big oh shit moment. And then whatever happens after that, you signed up for it. I mean, that's what it is, right? And so with America's Next Top Model, that's how they viewed a lot of those contestants. And then, if you watch the docuseries, spoiler alert, didn't work out a lot for them. At the same time, with reality shows like 90 Day Fiancé, there are people that we're taking advantage of. And Lisa is, I'm not saying we're taking advantage of Lisa, though I'm not saying we're not, but it does feel like we're taking advantage of Faith's situation. And Faith has no recourse because Lisa was the one that signed up for her and Lisa's her mom. And it does feel like Faith has been somewhat traumatized by this woman her entire life. So what I'm saying is we need to go fund me for Faith. Okay, so Lisa, I don't know if she like got good at that headdress, honey, but Daniel's like, we're gonna go meet this king. You got to go meet the king. You got to look good, honey. I mean, like, straighten up and fly right. Put that thing on your head and do it well, and put the wig on. Let's go meet the king. And this is where Lisa is so daft and so ignorant. She's like, oh, good. I'm going to meet a king in a European palace with a moat around it. And you're like, no. And she's like, there's going to be guards in silver, like tin. There's going to be, a princess. There's going to be crowns. You're like, oh my God, there are going to be crowns. So she, is a 4-year-old and then decides in her mind what it is. And it's not that. Daniel has to get many different blessings. It's a very stringent culture of blessings aplenty. And then they all have to consult the ancestors. Still his dad, not around. I still want to know like what's happening with that. It's the younger brother, the uncle, his uncle, his dad's younger brother that's around, plus the king, obviously. So Daniel is wearing, and also when he gets to the king, Daniel's younger uncle and him are wearing stocking caps that are striped red. And they're reminiscent of a little bit like Dickens. They're a little like Scrooge, kind of like they look like the kind of caps that he would sleep in. Like the long ones that like lay down, like all the way down. Anyway, when they get to the palace, it's not how Lisa thinks it's going to look, right? And it's kind of like it looks kind of like meeting room, like a convention meeting room. There are definitely people in traditional garb. And when you meet the king, he's very handsome and he's wearing a fabric felt lion head onto his sweater. That's not at all real looking. It very much looks like if you got a lion, like squishmallow or squashmallow, or what do you call those, like pillow things, and then made a sweater of it. It has like the faux felt hair and like kind of like a beady plastic blue eye of the lion. And this is made for us to talk about, like, and at the same time, we're like, we shouldn't be talking about other cultures, like, with the way they do things, and so there's 2 things about this. It's interesting that the lion head looks so manufactured. That's the one thing I'll say, like, there was a choice for the lion head, and it's because you want to showcase a king, a certain, like, alpha male, a certain, like, royalty, but unfortunately, the lion's head distracted from the king's own majesty. Remember when Kylie Jenner went to that Chappelle thing or whatever, and it was like fashion New York, I'm sorry, it was Paris Fashion Week like 3 years ago, and she had that huge lion head, and it was, like, so wild looking, and it was just like you couldn't really look at her or anything, you're just, like, staring at that lion's head. It's kind of like that. He kind of gave that Kylie Jenner moment. Now, in this thing, Lisa, like, knows one thing about this culture, honey. When you get in front of someone, you kneel. She's like, "Do I kneel? Do I kneel now?" He's like, "Yes, kneel." She kneels, and then he's like, "Come up to me, sister, and talk to me." And she goes up, and then she starts having a nervous laugh, and he gets mad. He's like, "Why are you laughing at me?" And then she, like, goes back, and then she has to be like, "I'm nervous," or whatever. And then he comes back, and he's like, "Okay, you don't laugh unless I laugh." She's like, "Uh-huh." He's like, "Ha ha 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 ha." And she's like, so afraid. He's like, "No, I'm laughing now. Ha ha ha. You laugh now." And she's like, "Ha ha ha." This whole time she's married. This whole time he has no idea. This whole time he thinks that he is just scamming her and getting her to say yes. And then also at the same time having a very easy, dumb white woman to, like, be obsessed with him. And also, but sometimes makes hard times for him by not doing everything he wants, right? Because there are moments where he'll be like, "Do this, walk that way." She's like, "I'm doing it my own way." Because he does tell her what to do at all times because she doesn't know what she's doing in his culture. And he has an agenda. She hasn't signed up for his agenda. She signed up for the let's be in love agenda. And he signed up for let's get married as soon as possible, get the blessings so I can get to America agenda. And he's so obvious with it. And she feels it. And she keeps asking about how obvious this feeling is. And yet she, stays in it. And that's why she's the frog that gets boiled alive. That's fine. It happens. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so King Don Sylvester, that's the king's name. I'm happy for him, and he's happy that he's a king. Also, Oracle, also prophet. He kind of does the same thing that the other guy did. I'm like, half of me is like, well, Daniel, then why'd you go to the other guy? Like, remember, Daniel's now gone to 3 guys. Daniel's gone to the Oracle guy before Lisa came. Then Daniel went to his uncle, and now Daniel's at the king. So the king does the thing with the necklace, and the necklace kind of like moves back and forth. And he's like, "Will you be able to take care of Daniel?" to Lisa. And Lisa's like, "Yes." And we're all like, "No." And then he has to basically be like, "Daniel, tell Lisa, like, what's up and keep her from laughing all the time in my face." And Lisa's like, "Okay." And then they get the blessing. I mean, they get the blessing. So I don't know what to tell you. She's still married. Um, Daniel's like, "She's trying her best." That's what I keep telling myself. And it's like, she's trying her best, but she's not okay. She's not trying to get you to America by getting her blessings from all of your people you need blessings from. Like, she's trying to just see if this works and be in a relationship with you. It's so funny. Let's move on, honey, to the end of an era, the iconic end of Emma and Zayed. So obviously we're on the heels of her being like, "Hey, babe. So guess what, babe? Babe, it's not my first time here. It's not my first time being engaged to a Moroccan man. I love Moroccan. I love chicken tagine. I've been having chicken tagine. Honey, you think you're the first person to fancy pour tea for me in Morocco? Nope. I've been having fancy ass tea poured into gorgeous glasses my whole time. I was here before. I met this man. We were engaged. Zayed's pissed. He's upset. And she's like, "I didn't want you to be mad, so I didn't say anything." Yeah. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, I'm obviously, girl, come on. He's obviously, as I said, he is like, she's lying. She's always been lying. I've known that she's been a liar. She always, she doesn't tell me the truth. She tells me half truths. She tells me a story, it changes. It's always, and not only changes, it like expound. It's like he's like, every story she tells me is a sponge. It starts off being like, this is it. And then when she retells a story, she adds more water and it grows. And it's like, no, this is it. And then it gets worse and worse. And now I'm to the point where I'm like, the next story is that she's been living here the whole time. She has 7 kids. She has 3 husbands. I'm going to meet them all. They're all named Muhammad. So Zayed is upset and he is like, nope, I'm done. I'm cool. I'm done. That's it. Put a fork in me. I don't want to marry you. I was already at 7%. Now it's negative. I don't want to deal. One friend thinks, you're a whore. The other friend is like hitting me up for your number. You can be with him. So she's like, she's obviously stomping around and she's like, you're being a literal asshole. You're being a literal asshole. And then she tries to like stop him from leaving. He's walking away and she like grabs him. He's like, don't touch me. She's like, I'm not touching you. And she did. And I mean, I'm not no Zayed fan, but Zayed does the best possible way of being like, oh, I'm done. No, I'm done. I'm not going to argue with you. I know I'm on camera. Here's the microphone. I don't care what you say. And it's almost as if the producers were like, don't let him leave. Throw everything at him, Emma. Don't let him leave. And so she's like grabbing him. He's like, don't touch me. She's like, are you really going to leave? Oh my God. You think you're so great. You just want to be perfect. Well, you had sex with me. So you're going to tell everyone that you had sex with me? We had sex last night. And then, when she says that. Here's the thing. The sexuality thing when it comes to Arabic culture, it's like, it's weird. It's like, she says that in a way to kind of like guilt or shame him, being like, you're not perfect. You as a man, you pretend that you're, God-fearing and we're not sleeping in the same bed, but we did. And so you think you're so perfect that you're above the lie I said. But there's no way he hears that, Emma, and is like, you know what? Emma's right. I already did fuck Emma. I am wrong in my head, and I should just, be like, yeah. He's not going to acquiesce to that. You saying all that to him is only going to further cement in his mind that he is packing his bags and going and getting away from you, that you are not it. It's like, yeah, she definitely has an aggressive desperation that for how pretty she is, and truly, of course, I would love like a make under, obviously. She's a pretty girl that could use, like a little more of a natch, I think, aesthetic overhaul. But at the same time, she shouldn't be so desperate. I think that there is a lot of love available in the world, and there's a lot of men that want to be with her, but it's hard. Yeah, it's hard. She wants a certain kind of attention, a certain kind of like devotion, and like to feel a certain kind of like unwielding love that wouldn't be able to happen in the time frame that she expects it to. Like, remember how Emma was like, you told me like day 2 that you want to be my husband, like da 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 da. And it's like, well, yeah, that wasn't real though. So just because he said that doesn't mean that you can go back and hang your hat on that and or try and find the next guy that's going to do that, like love bomb you. You can't just like build, a mansion of concrete in I don't know, just with a bunch of like fake love bombs in the first 3 days. You can't just like, that's the house you're going to live in. Mm. So she's crying. Um, he's so happy. He's like, calls his friends like, yalla, get me. Come, I'm in Ashve. She's like, are you going to leave? He's like, yeah. She's like, tonight? You're not going to spend the night? He's like, right, right. He has, his like LV bags or Gucci bags, honey, like he's going to get a friend or an Uber Black to get him, honey, home. I mean, he's going to pay whatever it is. He's not spending the night. He can't wait. He's going to go back and tell his friends, that one smiley friend and the other friend that knew that Emma was, not it, all the business. I want to know, well, like this is where I do feel like I want to know this. She obviously wanted to shame him with the sex. So she feels like him and her family or his friends will feel some type of way if they find out that Zayed had sex. So I do kind of wish that in the tell all or there'd be an update where, I don't know, Sean Robinson be like, hey, what do your parents think? Did they watch the show? Like sometimes I just want anyone to ask any of the peeps of like from other countries, like, do your parents watch this show? Zayed, like, do you have uncles and aunts that are watching the show? Like, Zayed, did you see Zayed on 90 Day Fiance? He was with that girl with the wig. Like, I want to know that. But they never actually like show that. Like, it's because they don't want to talk about the show being a show, even though we know it's a show. But it's important because if Emma is going to be like, shame him, I guess, for having sex with her on TV, I want to know if that works. You know what I'm saying? Like, was he in trouble by his aunts and uncles and dads and moms? Like, was he like, Yola, you had sex? No, la, haram, you know. Okay. Aviva and Stig. Oh my God, honey. Spring has come and spring has brought winter and spring has like, this is you, isn't it? And I mean, here's the thing. She shows Stig, a picture of Stig and a lady, and they're hugging in a way that isn't very romantic. It kind of almost looks like cousins. She just happens to be in a bikini, except the bikini or the bathing suit is like censored. So you can't even really see the picture. And then he's like, yeah, I guess. And then she has a forwarded text which just says from him. And it doesn't say his like number or anything. And it's like, yeah, I'm gonna love you forever with like a bunch of emojis. And even me, Chris, when she watches this, is like, oh, he's not, I don't think that's it. That's not the smoking gun I think you think it is, like at all. I'm not famous at all, like one bit, but I've done comedy shows like in characters. And yeah, like there's a bunch of pictures of me hugging people. And there are so many comments over the years, like either from me, from like this character Fiancé or whatever, just being like, love you so much, y'all, darlings, or whatever, you know, like that's what it is. There was nothing about him that made it seem like he was in a relationship with that lady. And none of the text messages seem so. And for Spring to come so hard with like basic bullshit, I was like, no. So that's why I feel like basically, okay, so obviously Spring does this, and then she brings Corinth. I'm not quite sure how to say her name. It's like I think it's Karina, but it's spelled Corinth over, and then that in Corinth is like that's my friend, and you've been fucking with my friend. But none of them bring Aviva over. Aviva is just sitting by herself. They treat Aviva as if Aviva is like a 14-year-old in like Bridgerton time. You know what I'm saying? Where Aviva's like she's too young to make her decisions. No, Aviva, you stay out in the drawing room. Let mother make these decisions now. But if you want to meet, you're just like, what is happening? Because then after that, he's like, yeah, no, you know, he's just like, that's not what's happening. And she's just a fan. And they try and go over dates. Like Corinne is like, where were you the night of November 7th? Sorry. Where were you the night of February 7th? He's like, I don't know. He's like, you were at a wedding. She's like, no, you're at Placentia with this woman. So he's like, oh, okay. Then they let him leave with Aviva. So it's like, they don't tell, if this was that bad, why would you not tell your niece? Okay. But she goes home with Aviva and Stig. And then Stig's like, yeah, she tells him, sorry, Stig tells Aviva everything that happened. Aviva's like, that's weird. Again, greasy hair. No dry shampoo in the entire island of Aruba. And then he's like, yeah, I was obviously a fan. And then he's like, so what about tonight? And she's like, no, I'm tired. He's like, you're going to let it ruin our night? And this is where Aviva's like, oh, no. I mean, sure, yes. It's not just this, though. It's like you coming in with like, you're going to have sex with me, raw dog energy and shoot at the club and let's make a baby ASAP. And then you being like, you know what, let's take a backseat to that. I don't know if I thought about that through. Now, here's the thing. He hasn't thought about it through. That through. Aviva, though, has made a decision. And Aviva's decision is that she wants to be with Stig, and you can't take, you know, backseas on like claiming me. In Aviva's mind, Stig claimed her. If you're like, I want to have sex with you and breed with you, and you're my girl, then that means we're together. We're making a family together. You and I are one because we're making this one baby together, probably, turns out. You know, that's how babies work. And so to then be like, you know what? I don't know if I thought about that, right? is a step back, but then to be like, but I'll still have sex with you is just hard. It's hard to hear. And it's hard for her to hear, and she's not into it because, yeah, for some reason, Aviva came to Aruba to make a baby. I don't know. I don't feel like that was as strong when it first started their storyline. They weren't like, what we really want is baby time. Like they were just supposed to get together, but then at some point, it he just kept saying the word breed, and then she was like, "Oh, that is the goal." It became very Handmaid's Tale. Um, so yeah, I don't think the text is real, and I do think we're gonna have to have this girl come on, and like talk about it or whatever. And I think that they could have done a better job to just at least take a picture where he and her are like not standing at a pool where she obviously was like, will you take a picture with me? They're not even sitting at a table where it looks like they're enjoying a meal together or anything. They're not even touching hardly. Okay, Sheena and Forrest, honey. I'll tell you one thing about the Philippines. Yummy ass fruit, ripe fruit, juicy fruit, different kinds of fruit, jackfruit, sure. I think they probably have cherimoya. They have mangoes, yummy yums. They have cotton fruit. I've never eaten cotton fruit. It's sour. Molly's been enjoying the fruit. Molly is like, look, if my son is going to make me come here to basically try and talk him out of whatever the fuck he's going to do, two things you're going to know about Molly. A, she's going to go to see the sights. She's going to eat fruit. She loves it. I love fruit too. So, Forrest is going to go to the mall with Sheena. Now, this is interesting because obviously my producer, Christina, told us that there's like this huge ass mall in the Philippines. And she also brought this up specifically when Forrest was trying to find like XXL clothing because it was like, well, you're probably not going to find it in these like, this bazaar. You probably can go into the huge ass mall. There's like a huge ass mall. So when this mall happens, I'm like, I don't know if this is a mall though. It's big. This is the Italian mall. This is okay. This is the Venetian in Vegas. If the Venetian's budget was like not as big, it's still as big as the Venetian, just with not as much money. Forrest has never been out of the country except for this. And he's like, this is Italy. This is exactly what Italy's like. No, I know Italy, honey. I'll tell you what Italy's like. There's little dancing Renaissance people. There's gondolas. There's these like old fashioned dresses. Yep. And I'll tell you one thing about Italy. I know El Pollo Loco's everywhere. Oh no, El Pollo Loco is Italian for yummy Italian chicken. I don't know what this meant. Okay. I don't know. Okay. The amount of El Pollo Loco signage in this fake Italian mall is wild to me. I mean, a lot. By the way, I take it back. I do like El Pollo Loco. I think it's good. Here's the thing. Do I eat a lot of El Pollo Loco? No, I don't. Why? Because at some point, someone scared me about the chicken what kind of chickens they're using in El Pollo Loco and like KFC. So like, I just don't eat those kind of chickens. Whatever. I mean, I'm no saint. It push comes to shove because the burritos are great, and I do think that the Caesar salad dressing is good at El Pollo Loco. But oh my god, it is the same. I mean, there's so much El Pollo Loco at this Italian mall. Why? Why is there not Sabaro? Why not just make, if you want an El Pollo Loco mall, why not make a Mexican mall? Then just, make another mall down the street, all Mexican themed. Okay, so God bless. So they, are walking around. They got the gondola. They then do, a photo shoot. And then for some reason, he like gets Sheena in a red dress. She gets a parasol. The minute they're about to take a picture, Forrest is like, Sheena, I got to talk to you about something. Sheena, why do you lie? Why do you lie? Sheena says a crazy answer, which is like, I got to tell you something I've been keeping from you. And we're all like, oh my God, Sheena, tell him. Sheena, I think, is going to be like, Forrest, I lied to you because I really need you to step up the game when it comes to like financial security and like providing for us as a couple. I lied because I have to support my family and I'm already making money and I can't support me, you, my family, everyone. I need you to like support us so I can support my family. Do you hear me? That's what it is. I need you to support us so I can support my family. And any money I have left over, I can also use. That's what I have to tell you. Also, make your mom shut up. Also, Is Deb okay? That's what I gotta say. Is Deb okay? Like, but that's not what she said, So she says this whole thing where she's like, my babe, my sugar bear. He calls her my Sheen, and she calls him bear, my baby bear. Baby bear, my Sheen, baby bear, my Sheen, baby bear. She's like, baby bear. I was in a relationship and he cheated on me, had a whole other girlfriend. And he's like, no, I'm so sorry. I'll never do that. And we're like, wait, Sheena, we're supposed to believe that in the 7 years that you were with Forrest, doing nothing in real life, that you had never told him that you were in a relationship prior to him where he cheated on you? Girl, of course you did. Of course you told him that. You're 7 years. You guys watching it on ring cams. Of course you told him that. And then okay, so then this is where it gets a little fake, and I'm not happy about it. So after that, like photo shoot, and she is in a red dress, they walk and they kind of go underneath fake wisteria. And there's not enough wisteria where it feels like they should add more to where it is because, there's this whole thing where they add fake plastic wisteria all over the place. It happened in New York with all the scaffolding. If you go to New York City, I don't know why I say city, New York City, because of the scaffolding, they would just like line it with fake plastic wisteria to be like, nothing's happening over here. You don't see anything. Okay. So she sees it. She comments on it. And he's like, yeah, this is the place. I've been waiting for the gondola mall that I looked up on the internet as an activation site for this proposal. And he gets down on one knee and he proposes. And we're like, oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Then he cries and says, I'm so sorry that it took me so long to come here. And we're like, but the streets of Reddit said that you were here before. Now, I don't know if that's true. Sheena said no, no, no. So maybe that is the same. People on the internet sites have been trying to like match Forrest's haircut with how he is. Forrest's haircuts in the confessionals are wild. He goes from like Caesar looking sometimes to honey, just like to something where he finally got his haircut. I don't know if like Deb did his hair at one point, but yeah, Forrest and Sheena are in love. And that's the best part of their story, is that they truly feel like they're in love, right? Like this is a real couple. They're in love. They're not in love. They're not Dylan and Petio or something where you're like, why are you guys together? Surely you're like, these are two souls meant to be together. And by that, you just want like we want everything to be super genuine because it's already, a story. You don't have to add things on to Forrest and Sheena. They're wild characters. So basically, yeah, after the gondola, they flirt, and then he has to like go home to Molly and Deb and be like, Mom, I did it. How do you feel about the fact that I and Sheena are engaged? And Molly's like, I'm happy. Just kidding. I fucking hate it. You're so dumb. I told you not to do it. I don't know why. Like, it's hard because Molly to Sheena in front of Sheena's face, like, you can't trust her. I told you not to do it. I don't know why you're not listening to me. Why'd I even come? And then he has to be like, Will, I think you're being really disrespectful and out of pocket. And it's like, well, then don't tell her. Here's the thing. You have two choices in this world. You either want someone's opinion or reaction, or you don't. If you don't want their opinion or reaction, you don't have to have it. You just don't bring them in. You can shut him down. You can, Forrest could be like, Mom, Sheena and I are engaged. And then Molly be like, what? Forrest, that's not what. And you'd be like, Mom, I actually don't care what you think. Thank you so much for giving me your opinion over these years. And at this point on the road, I'm just going to not ask for it. I'm good. Mom, I'm chill. So we'll see what happens. But, finally, honey, we get, let me move on to Laura and Birkin, then I'll end with Elise. Laura and Birkin, it's a small scene. So he found, like a heater. She wants 30 minutes of alone time to FaceTime people. Now, he at that point should know that she means Michael. And he's just like, great, shisha time, shisha. She's like, great, go smoke your shisha. I don't know how you have money. So then he goes to smoke shisha, and gamble more. God bless. And then she calls Michael. And the whole time I've been like, where's Michael? And Michael, gets on the phone. And then he's like, how are you doing? And she's like, wellish. And he's like, well, can't be doing that well without me. She's like, huh? He's like, yeah. how's it going? And do you want to come home? I would love you to come home. She's like, there are some great moments and there's some weird moments, some weird moments, some great moments. I'll tell you what is one small weird moment is the weird moment where he was in like a lot, he's in a lot of debt. And she tells it's 50,000. He's like, holy shit. And she's like, yeah, another just like small, just like, oops, what's that? Is the moment where Beercon was like, oh, I gamble every day. I gamble every day, all the money I can get. The minute I have money, I gamble it. I don't know. That brought up a little something for me, maybe like a bit of pause. Michael's like, you've been emotionally compromised. Eject. Michael starts to pretend that he's like some scientist, like, get yourself away from Mars. She's like, no, I really want to stay here. You don't understand. The other thing about Beer Khan is that he is the most mindful, intentional person that does things that like make me feel truly seen because he took me on a boat ride. Michael's like, there's other high quality men that can do boat rides. He's like, I would feel much more comfortable if you would get on the nearest plane and get home. And she's like, I don't, I. He's like, okay, then fine. Please, please, please allow me to come to Turkey and talk to him. You have been, even as I said, emotionally compromised. You cannot be trusted. She's like, I don't know. I mean, I'll tell you, yes, the fangirl romance nerd in me, of course, wants you and Beercon to fight over me. Like, I almost feel like Laura saying, like, here's the thing, Michael. No man has ever done anything to truly make me feel cared for, seen, valued, claimed as a woman. And that's why I'm in Turkey. Because Beercon plans things for me in a romantic way. And he's not afraid of telling me how great I am and that he wants me. So that's why I'm here. You'd be surprised how hard it is to find men to have the due diligence, to have the maturity, to have the strength to just fucking do that. Michael, oh, do you want to come over here? Oh, Michael, you think I'm emotionally compromised? I think that you're emotionally stunted, Michael. She's like, this is what I feel like I'm not saying Chris Fair is saying this, but what I am saying is that I think that that's why she says this. Like she kind of, I feel like, is using this to get Michael to understand that he didn't do what he could have done if he wanted to. Like if Michael wanted to lay his cards on the table for Laura to put his hat in the ring as a suitor, he could have, but he hasn't yet, right? He kind of keeps hinting at it. Laura, there are high quality men that could do such things for you, but he won't be like, Laura, fucking just come home. I'll set up a pickleball tournament in your honor. I mean, I don't know. What do you want, Laura? Okay. Now, obviously, we know that he's going to come because the producers are not going to not let him happen because they want Beer Khan and him to have, a showdown, Wild Wild West style. Shisha in one hand, pickleball racket in the other. Okay, honey, Elise and Joshua. Thank God she's meditating. She's in a car. She has a silk mask on her eyes. She's really just like sensorily going in it. She has a Cartier bracelets and Van Cleef. She's like Chloe. Both of them, they can travel together. They look cute together. They have fancy, expensive bracelets and jewelry together. And the meditation saying things like, I'm doing the best I can. And that is plenty. I'm doing the best I can. And that is plenty. I am enough. Sure, sometimes I'm a little too much, but in that way, I'm also enough. You know what I'm saying? Um, Elise describes herself as outgoing, loving, and wants to show you her boobs. She does. It's not just her boobs, though, it's her butt. Yeah, Elise is like a little loving puppy that also has like the hottest body in the whole world and knows it and gets attention that way. And so she's like, look, I want to be loved. Also, look at the body, yada, yada. And I love having like more backstory about Elise, like in a way she kind of gives like Courtney vibes. She has like parents that are married. for a long time, like chill, financially stable, like boomer era parents, you know what I'm saying? That like sort of look at her, and this is maybe a whole generational thing. So it's not just Courtney and it's not just Elise, but like look at their single daughters and being like, what happened? Like, why aren't they doing it? And so that's low key how I feel. She has a lot of nervous energy, Elise. And we've been knowing that because we like saw her act out. I feel like in Hunt for Love. So now we see like she is like sitting on a lot of anxiety and energy. You can kind of like feel it. She has fidget spinners. She's, she's like anxious. She's, and I think that like this anxious energy of like, feeds into her wanting validation and love, you know. Anyway, it's so interesting. She says that she's an odd sheep. Her parents met on a blind date, honey, and it worked out. She's 32. She has a brother. The brother has a long-term wife. Elise is like, I've been proposed to 5 times. I've said yes 3 times. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, who are those people? I want to see all those people. And women, like, how old were you for them? All of these shots are like in full fall foliage heaven. It's like all of the leaves are golden, orange, and red. I mean, it's gorgeous where she lives. Her parents wanted her to date a Jewish guy, but she didn't. Her dad's a venture capitalist and has knee problems. Woody and Beth. Listen, Woody and Beth had bailed out their daughter a couple times, and like because they love each other and they're all close, at the same time, I think they feel like hindered her from, I think, getting out there and sort of like getting her knees dirty and learning some lessons. She describes an ex situation where she was in love with someone and they fucking stole her identity and then racked up $500,000 in debt. And that's wild. And then she said her parents had to bail her out, which were like, well, but you sue that person. Is that person in jail? Is that person in jail now? Is this like the Tinder swindler? Anyway, she is now back in Miami after visiting her parents, and she has a beautiful apartment. Elise lives like, this is her living quarters. It's gorgeous. She has a gorgeous, like, mother of pearl backsplash of her kitchen with like gold hardware and an orange cat. The orange cat's name is Stella. Stella is technically usually a feminine name. Stella's a boy. She was like, we liked the name Stella, maybe Street Crime and Desire. We found out it's a boy. That's what happened. She says a bunch of like problematic things when it comes to transgenderism, like it's just confused, things where you're like, oh girl, no, don't. You're also putting something on this cat, and I don't know, but that's on herself. Yeah, Elise is, I wonder what it's like when Elise really is grounded. Like, I wonder when it's like when Elise either like has her feet in soil or like feels really connected or like has deep talks or gets super stoned or like, I wonder what she's like when you strip away a lot of like the anxiousness that she has and like that kind of like high energy of like insecurity. Elise is so beautiful. And I mean, she's a beautiful girl, crazy ass body. I mean, she comes from, a loving family. And no shade, I do feel, like I am insecure too. I do feel, and yeah, a wild insecurity from her that I can't quite understand why you would have that. I'm not quite sure why, but she is, like she knows it too. I think it's like this desperate need to be loved is this. But she met Josh on the internet, as one does. She on her Instagram, is a walking billboard for like, selling body, yada, yada, really. So, I'm sure just men are just like, oh my God, I can't believe this. You're so hot. She's like, I know. They start talking and he has a kid and he lives, in Australia. She goes and meets with her friends and, they're like, well, what's happening with you and this guy? And she starts talking and she's like, yeah, he has big hands. I love big hands. And it's anything weird happening, obviously I'm going to like see him. I kept being like, "Can you send me a video of your place, babe?" And he's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And then video never came. And then it's because I realized he's living with his parents. And we're like, "No, he has a kid. He's 39." And then they're like, "No, girl, no." And then she's like, "Yeah, he's living with his parents. So while I'm there, he's going to rent a place." And they're like, "Oh, okay." And she's like, "But with a roommate, he can't afford it." And they're like, "No, girl, with a roommate." Josh is hot, truly. But I mean, at least you can't be like in a different country and he has like no stability. And he has like, obviously a life and a child in Australia. Like, there's things happening. Like, what is it? You know, her parents are like, no more gold diggers. Cause I think that, they financially support her, I'm sure. Now that I see her apartment, I'm like, oh my God, yeah. Yeah. Her parents are just so rich. They're like, we can't have you be a Courtney. We can't have you just like bring some guy home that's going to like live with us here and contribute nothing. At least it's like, okay, I'll move there. All right, my loves, that was the episode. Again, transitional, but I'm so happy we got Elise, and now we have no Emma and Zayed, but we do know that Emma gets to go and try and meet up with her old boo, and I'm actually wildly happy about that. I want to see him. I can't wait. There was no Rick and Trish, which also was great, so they're going to come back. Oh, goodness gracious. However, let's get on. Have you watched the America's Next Top model docuseries yet? Have you watched Love is Blind? Even though I'm a little behind, all of those things are coming. Traders is coming too. Don't even worry about it. However, at the same time, this was 90-day fiance before the 90 days. Also, I'm doing 90-day the single life, so a lot of things are happening. Please make sure that you are following, subscribing, and leaving me a lovely review. You can also follow me on social media. I'm at Chris L. Fair, wherever you are on that social. Honey, Instagram, honey, TikTok. You can pay extra $5 and get all my visuals real fast before I put them anywhere else on Patreon. I'm also on Substack, like my page on Facebook, Chris Farah. Also, the private group, Vanity Fair. All of that exists. Can you believe it? We're going to do 2 breaths. I'm going to let you go. I love you guys so much. I really appreciate you listening to me and like enjoying whatever I'm saying at the same time. I want to hear your thoughts. I need to hear them. So give them to me. 2 breaths why we're all here right now. There's like a mindful moment we're having in our day. You can either use my voice or your own sound of your own breath just to like, you can hear hopefully. I'm in a space where I'm trying to have a mindful moment, except that I'm in a loud space. So 2 breaths, rehearsal breath, and then real breath. Just get yourself to this present moment just for yourself, not even me, but I'm doing it for myself. And so a little gift for you. If this is it for your day, God bless. Feel the ground, feel yourself. This is how we are in our bodies. This is how we can connect to our nervous system so that we can make choices that are not highly reactive, but that are centered around what is healthy and good for us. It's maintaining a connection to ourselves and how we feel. Okay, that's what it is. Blow it out. All right, my love. Take care of yourselves and one another. Stand up for what you believe in, make art, and I'll talk to you later. All right, bye. Bye.